Have you ever found yourself pacing around your room, whispering to an invisible opponent, or staring into the bathroom mirror while delivering a heartbreaking monologue to someone who isn't there? In your mind, you are winning the argument you lost 3 years ago. You are finally telling your boss exactly why you're leaving. You are reuniting with an ex, or perhaps you're standing on a stage, explaining your success to a crowd of thousands. In these moments, your heart rate actually speeds up. Your eyes might tear up, or you might find yourself smiling at a joke that was never told. To anyone watching, you're just washing the dishes or staring out a window. Inside, you are the director, the lead actor, and the audience of a private, high-stakes cinema that never closes. Most people dismiss this as just daydreaming or a sign of being distracted. But for you, these fake scenarios aren't just a way to kill time. They are a deeply ingrained psychological survival tool. You aren't losing your mind. You are engaging in a sophisticated form of internal regulation that your brain developed for a very specific reason. But why is your mind so obsessed with a life you aren't actually living? To understand why your brain does this, we have to look at a neurological phenomenon called the default mode network, DMN. Most people think the brain is active only when we are focusing on a task. But for you, the real fireworks happen when you're doing nothing. The DMN is a large-scale brain network that kicks into high gear the moment you stop focusing on the outside world. It is the seat of your imagination, your sense of self, and your ability to travel through time. When you imagine these fake scenarios, your brain isn't glitching. It's performing a high-level cognitive simulation. Evolutionarily, this was a survival superpower. Our ancestors survived because they could imagine, what if a predator is behind that bush, before it actually happened. But in the modern world, this system has been hijacked by our complexities. Instead of predators, you are simulating social threats, career triumphs, or emotional closures. You are essentially using a world-class supercomputer to run flight simulations for your life. The problem is that your nervous system can't always tell the difference between the simulation and reality. This is why a fake argument in your head can leave you feeling genuinely exhausted, with your body flooded with very real stress hormones for a fight that never happened. If you are like most people who daydream, your scenarios aren't always about winning a Grammy or marrying your crush. Often, they are dark. You imagine getting into a horrific car accident, losing a loved one, or being publicly humiliated. Why would your brain put you through that agony for fun? Psychologists call this preemptive coping. Your mind is performing an emotional dress rehearsal. By simulating the worst-case scenario, your brain is trying to inoculate you against the pain. It's a survival logic that says, if I feel the heartbreak now in the safety of my mind, it won't kill me if it happens in reality. It's a defensive pessimism. You are building a mental fortress, trying to ensure that life can never surprise you with a blow you haven't already felt. But there is a hidden cost to this quote-unquote protection. Your body doesn't know the difference between the thought of a tragedy and the tragedy itself. You are essentially traumatizing yourself in advance to avoid being traumatized later. You are paying interest on a debt you might never even owe. If you look closely at your favorite fake scenarios, they usually fall into two categories: the hero or the victim. In the hero scenario, you are finally seen. You save the day, you give the perfect comeback, or you reveal a hidden talent that leaves everyone speechless. This is your brain's way of compensating for a validation deficit. If you feel overlooked or undervalued in your daily life, your mind creates a stage where you are the sun and everyone else is a planet revolving around your brilliance. It's a hit of pure dopamine. But then there is the victim scenario. You imagine being hurt, misunderstood, or even dying, and you watch how others react to your pain. This isn't because you want to suffer, it's because you want to be cherished. You are simulating a world where your pain is finally taken seriously, where people finally stop and say, "I'm so sorry, I didn't realize how much you were carrying." In both cases, you are using your imagination to perform emotional self-sustenance. You are feeding yourself the attention, justice, or love that you aren't getting from the people around you. You've created a ghost audience to give you the standing ovation your soul is starving. There is a hidden tax you pay for every hour spent in your imagination, and it's called cognitive fatigue. Your brain is incredibly powerful, but it's also expensive to run. When you engage in these vivid, fake scenarios, your brain is working twice as hard. It has to maintain the present reality while simultaneously constructing a high-definition alternate one. Because your nervous system struggles to distinguish between a thought and a thing, the fake stress you feel during a mental argument is processed as real biological stress. This is why you can spend an hour lying perfectly still on your couch couch, yet stand up feeling like you've just run a marathon. Your body is flooded with cortisol, your muscles are tense, and your mind is foggy. You are suffering from emotional hangovers, from events that never even happened. The danger is that the more you live in these scenarios, the more the real world starts to feel dull, gray, and uncontrollably difficult. You aren't just escaping reality, you are accidentally making reality harder to handle by exhausting the very resources you need to face it. If you are someone who constantly runs these fake scenarios, there's a high probability that at some point in your life, the real world felt unpredictable, chaotic, or even unsafe. Psychologists have found a strong link between childhood emotional neglect or trauma and what they call maladaptive daydreaming. For a child who couldn't control their environment, who had to walk on eggshells around a volatile parent, or who felt invisible in their own home, the imagination became the only place where they had absolute sovereignty. In your head, you are never ignored. In your head, you have the last word. You are using the unreal as a safety harbor because the real has been too heavy to carry. This is why you struggle to stop, even when you know it's wasting your time. Your brain views these scenarios as a protective shield. To stop imagining is to stand naked and vulnerable in a world you still don't entirely trust. You aren't lost in your thoughts. You are hiding in the only fortress that has never let you down. So what is the final truth about these fake scenarios? You aren't doing this because you're crazy or because your real life is a failure. You are doing this because you have a mind that is too big for the room you're standing in. You are a natural-born architect of possibility. But here's the shift you need to make. You don't have to win the argument in your head to be worthy of respect in reality. You are allowed to use your imagination as a sanctuary, but you don't have to let it become your prison. Your fake scenarios are actually a map of your deepest needs. If you're a hero in your mind, you're starving for recognition. If you're a victim, you're starving for comfort. Listen to what your stories are trying to tell you about what you're missing in the real world, and then give yourself permission to step out of the cinema. You've spent so much energy preparing for things that might never happen. What if you used just a fraction of that power to be present for what is happening? You are safe now. The audience in your head can go home. You are allowed to just be here, in the quiet, in the messy, unscripted reality of being alive. Because a real life, even with its losses and silences, is worth more than 1,000 perfect scenes in a mind that never sleeps.